To be on the program, email address lrushbaugh@eibnet.com. This is not what's supposed to happen. It's an AP story out of Denver. Firearms sales are surging in the... What? Yes, I've heard about the NBC poll. In a couple of minutes. It's right here. I'm going to get to it in just a second. All in due to a 3-hour program. Of course, I've heard about it. It's a joke. They sample 11% more Democrats than Republicans, and even at that, they can only get Obama a 6-point lead. Yesterday, we were talking, the Reuters was the only poll with Obama up 6. We were talking about what a joke it was. My question is, what's the Wall Street Journal doing partnering with this bunch? Everybody knows that NBC's in the tank for Obama and so forth, and the NBC Wall Street Journal poll, this is not doing the Wall Street Journal any good credibility-wise. They had to have an 11-point spread in Democrats versus Republicans in their sample in order to get Obama a 6-point lead. There's no way that that's going to reflect the turnout. There aren't going to be 11% more Democrats voting than Republicans in November. Again, I can't get to this in just a second. First, this wasn't supposed to happen. Firearms sales are surging in the wake of the Colorado movie theater massacre, as buyers express fears that anti-gun politicians may use the shootings to seek new restrictions on owning weapons. In Colorado, gun sales jumped in the 3 days that followed. The state approved background checks for 2,887 people who wanted to buy a gun, 25% more than the average Friday to Sunday period in 2012, and 43% more than in the same interval the week before. This is not supposed to happen. The media and the rest of the Democrat Party are supposed to be able to use tragedies like the Aurora shooting to discourage people from owning guns. And furthermore, they're supposed to be able to use tragedies like the Aurora shooting to get people to join them in the media, the Democrat Party, for more gun control. But instead, the event itself is having the opposite effect. The AP is appalled. You can hear the fury when you read the copy and the story. This is not supposed to happen. Dick Rutan, the owner of Gunner's Den in suburban Arvada, Colorado, said requests for concealed weapon training certification are off the hook. What they're saying is they want to have a chance. They want to have the ability to protect themselves. And Obama the other day said, yo, my daughters, they go to movies. What if they'd been in that theater? Well, let me answer that. If Obama's daughters had been in the theater, there would have been Secret Service agents in there. At the first sign this guy pulled a weapon, he'd have been dropped by the Secret Service, and the results would have been quite different. Had there been anybody in that, then I'm not advocating that people take weapons. I'm just saying, had there been anybody in that theater with a gun, they'd have been able to stop this guy on this rampage. And then, so if Obama's daughters had been in there, there'd have been Secret Service agents in there, and this guy starts lighting the place up, the Secret Service agents take him out. That's what would happen, and that is why there is increased sales of guns. It's like the famous rapper Ice-T said yesterday on this program. It's the last defense against tyranny. The only reason you have guns is to protect yourself against the police, he said. He did. The well-known rapper Ice-T. AP says that firearm sales are surging because buyers fear anti-gun politicians may use the shootings to seek new restrictions on owning weapons. That's a very reasonable fear. But I suspect a bigger factor is that people see things like this latest massacre and realize they can't count on the police to protect them from the lunatics and the criminals. Anymore, nobody can do anything until after the crime has occurred. But the AP did find the gun guy, Dick Rutan. saying that people want the ability to protect themselves and their families if they're in a situation like this. Imagine wanting to be able to defend yourself and your family from lunatics and criminals. I'm sure the AP sees that as silly and paranoid. But still they do. You know, yesterday, grab audio soundbite number 2. Yesterday, day before, talked to you about Chris Cillizza's column, Washington Post, which he said, and also Thomas B. Edsall in the New York Times, the Obama strategery here where it comes to Romney voters. The first stage was write off the votes of white working-class Americans. The Obama campaign in November of last year just announced that we know they're not going to vote for us. We're not going to campaign for their votes. We're not going to. And the next stage, which was announced this week, was, and we're going to try to suppress that vote. And we're going to try to convince white working-class Americans that Romney hates them. That Romney looks down his nose at them. Now you got Andrea Mitchell. Andrea Mitchell's accusing Romney of speaking in dog whistle language. You know what that means? Well, dog whistle, humans can't hear it. But Romney is able to speak to certain human beings in dog whistle language, which means that some of Romney's voters are the equivalent of dogs. And they're the only ones that can hear what he's saying. And he's sending them racist coded messages. For example, when he talks about Obama saying, "You didn't build it. Somebody else made that happen." When Romney, according to Andrea Mitchell, Romney says that's dog whistle language. The white working class Americans, it's Romney sending out racist code. Tax cuts was code. Yeah, Rangel said that tax cuts was racist, was code for racism. How does Andrea Mitchell know the code? Well, she's a journalist. They know these tricks. They know all the tricks we Republicans try. They know Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Washington. She knows all the secret stuff. She knows secret handshake. Yeah, she knows the secret blood sharing ceremonies and all. She knows it all. That's what being an investigative journalist is all about. She and Brian Ross talk about this frequently. Dog whistle lingo emanating from Romney as code. Anyway, here's Cillizza admitting all this. He was on Starting Point on CNN this morning. He's got this new book, The Gospel According to the Fix, which is the name of his column. The host, Soledad O'Brien, said to Chris Cillizza, "Voters are disenchanted. Voters are unhappy." Whoa. Have you not seen the NBC poll? Why, you ought to see it. The majority of Americans think Obama better than anybody deal with the economy, better than anybody deal with foreign policy. I mean, you would not believe this poll. As well as you shouldn't. Soledad O'Brien obviously hadn't seen it when she said, voters are disenchanted, they're unhappy, and we see that in the polling. At the same time, Chris, negative ads are successful, and that's why they keep running. How much they pay her for these unique, unavailable anywhere else, insightful questions? Negative ads are successful, Chris, and that's why they keep running. Here's what Cillizza said.
Negative ads do tend to depress turnout broadly. That said, in a presidential election where you have the Republican base incredibly energized to vote against Barack Obama, you have the Democratic base slightly less energized, but still very energized to vote for Barack Obama, I just don't see people not turning out. I think we're looking at an 04 electorate, extremely close. The path to Barack Obama to victory in this election is disqualify Mitt Romney, because Barack Obama's positive message only can go so far, because we know from all the polling we've seen out there basically says a majority of people don't approve of how Barack Obama is handling the economy. If we're talking about the economy every day, it does not take a political genius to realize he probably comes up short.
Barack Obama's positive message only can go so far. There isn't one. When you boil it all down, what's the positive? Oh, wait. Let me find it. Let me find it. Because Obama says it's working. What number is it? Grab soundbite 14. Folks, it's working. Barack Obama said his plan is working. It's Monday night in Oakland during a campaign speech.
Just like we've tried their plan, we've tried our plan, and it worked. That's the difference. That's the choice in this election. That's why I'm running for a second term.
The God reverb is back. You notice that? But he said, just like we've tried their plan, we tried our plan, and it worked. That's the difference. That's the choice in this election. That's why I'm running for a second term. It's why, precisely, he should not be elected for a second term. Now, the question is, does he really believe this? I want to play this again. This sounds like somebody reading it off the prompter. This doesn't sound like somebody who really believes it. If I put myself in his shoes, if the economy on my watch is a disaster, and it's a disaster because my policies have made it such that somebody sends me out there to talk about how it's working, I have too much conscience to be able to pull that off with any believability. So you have to look at the context, the precious context. If he says it's working, and if he means it, then that means something dangerous. Here, listen to it again.
Just like we've tried their plan, we've tried our plan, and it worked. That's the difference. That's the choice in this election. That's why I'm running for a second term.
That is quite an admission. I don't know how else to look at this. He is admitting that this has been the plan all along, and that everything's going right. Everything's going according to plan. So I guess we have another see I told you so moment here, because I've said all along it was always his plan to destroy the economy, and he just admitted it. He just admitted, hey, his plan worked for all intents and purposes. The only alternative is that he's just saying it because he's relying on the fact that his audience is such a bunch of idiots that they won't know. So he just go out and lie. So he got two out. He just goes out and lies and rolls the dice that people will swallow it, or he goes out and tells the truth. It's working. Our plan worked. More of you on food stamps than ever before. More than you don't have jobs than ever before. 18.2 million of you don't have jobs. More of your homes are underwater than ever before, and more of you going to be in a whole big mess because of health care. Yep, it's working. Speaking of health, I have some of the most conflicting CBO news on Obamacare. Wait, I'll run through it all in due course. Right now, I have to take a brief timeout. We'll do that and come back and resume right after this.